Every day seems to be a lesson in learning how to let go. The universe isn't just out there, it's interacting with you. Claim your power by embracing the unknown. This is Tracy with Tracy Talks, and I'm here to ignite your curiosity. Don't just listen, embrace it. There are some aspects of my life that I am just going to have to let go of any expectation and trust that things are working out as they're supposed to. I only have so many hours in the day, and we all do. We have a limited amount of time and a limited amount of resources. And resources isn't just money, but it is anything that has a currency. And we can't do everything all of the time. There have to be deliberate choices that we make. I have really been working on my creative output, working on my writing. I've been working with my paints, the acrylics, the canvas, and then there are just my daily routines of being outside in nature. And some people would probably say, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. However, there is a lot of energy that is needed for me to sit down and write, tap into that creative flow. And it's one of those processes that you have to build that muscle. It's no different than working out, that you can't just sit down and write the novel. You can't just show up for the marathon. If you want to successfully run a marathon, you have to train. You have to do a daily activity that is building up your muscles, your stamina, your mental thought process around it, all of those components that are needed for you to be successful. That creative output is no different than running the marathon. That I can't just, one day if I want to write a book, just sit down and think that that's going to happen. And I have been investing time into all of these steps that nobody really sees. Nobody knows what I'm doing. And I know that I have family members who question if I'm doing anything, but they aren't someone who is creative. Therefore, I don't just sit down and say, well, from 11 to 11:30, I wrote. From, 10 to 10:30, I meditated so I could really connect to my intuition and that deeper part of myself. People who aren't of a creative nature don't understand how important these daily rituals truly are and how important it is for me to invest in myself in those ways so I can build and strengthen that creative muscle. There has also been this deeper desire in me to invest in a relationship, a personal relationship. I had signed up and joined a couple of apps because it naturally makes sense for someone who is trying to develop their creativity to redirect energy to someone outside of themselves. And I'm being sarcastic when I say it naturally makes sense. Anyway, I thought, it's been a while and maybe it would be nice to have someone in a more intimate relationship. And a lot of that goes back to me being a Libra sun sign and a Gemini moon. And there is this natural desire for partnership because the Libra sun is the scales, and there's always this internal desire to balance and bounce my ideas through thought and conversation with another person. And then my Gemini moon, Gemini is the sign of the twins. Again, it's reinforced that there is some type of design within me that is looking for partnership. So I joined these apps thinking that that was going to be a solution. And it's interesting when we have these thoughts and ideas and we think that they sound good in the beginning. And if any of you know of someone who has had success on one of these apps, then that is absolutely amazing because it was a disaster. I joined one app thinking that it was going to be people of a more mature age. And I had set my radius pretty close and pretty tight because I don't want to have to figure out travel arrangements to meet up with somebody that's an hour away. I mean, it's a huge commitment anymore. An hour one way for driving or meeting in the middle, and all of this logistics part of it just is too much for me. All I can think about is this app is, one, there wasn't many people on it because everybody that I was being matched with was an hour and 20 minutes away. And the majority of the people that I was being matched with were essentially in one small little area where when I looked on the map, there was no actual residential area that it had an actual population of like 57 people. I don't know what was happening and I don't know what was going on. And I think there was a casino that was close by. And I don't know if I was being matched with all of these transient people. It was just really too much for me. I thought it was going to be this fun, eye-opening experience. So many of the matches look like register offender profiles. I tried another app. I downloaded another app and I got a little more, of course, what I thought was fun and creative with my bio. I came into the second app a little less enthusiastic after the first experience. And so I was a little bit more realistic in my expectations. I guess I've been hearing all of these men on platforms complain about how picky women are and how they're only wanting this top 1 or 2%. And I guess there's a lot of focus on tall men. And I don't know that that has ever been a requirement for me. And I don't understand the thought process behind that because I've never eliminated somebody because they were short. It would more likely have to be their personality, but then the man could have self-reflected and thought it was because he was short. I don't know. And so I came into the second one probably not as optimistic, just like, okay, let's just try this and see where it goes. And it's just a horrible process of looking at these pictures and reading what some of these men are saying. Like I was getting liked by men from back east in Minnesota or Oklahoma, and they were looking for intimacy without commitment. And I'm always amazed at, I guess you're being honest that you have no desire for a relationship. You're just wanting a hookup. But from Minnesota, and I'm in the Midwest, how does that even make sense? Who is not thinking here? You're the one that put that on your profile. Did I put that on my profile anywhere? No. So why would you like that? Why would you like my profile? So those kind of things are like, okay, guys, do you have a brain? Are you the scarecrow? And then I'm realizing that a lot of men do not know how to take a good photo. We all have smart cameras, right? So why are you using a photo of you with a previous girlfriend and then you have put an emoji over her face? Why would you not just take a new picture? Why would you not just have a friend take a picture of you? Do you not have any friends who can take a new picture? And one of these, the guy was, they were obviously in some resort. It was warm. She had a bathing suit on, and her cleavage was like everywhere, all over the picture. And I wanted just to say, dude, what are you doing? Who is this for? You cannot be this dumb. You cannot. And then I've realized that if you can't understand why that is a horrible picture, how are we ever going to connect? If you can't understand that you're still, at some point, I would want to say, you're still connected to your ex. And I know women get this bad rap for thinking that everything is connected. But it is. Why do you still have a picture of her on your phone? And why are you putting it on a dating app? Looking for new women. I learned that I have some very definite deal breakers. Skinny jeans. It's a deal breaker. I cannot handle skinny jeans. Why? I would be more inclined to believe that women are not your gender preference if you're wearing skinny jeans. Just saying. I don't know. I know that's an assumption. And women do not need gym pictures. We don't. I know that you are proud of your body. And to be honest, I personally haven't known too many men who are actually insecure about their bodies. I know there is a lot of talk right now about how men are insecure. I personally haven't known them. I personally have known very secure men with their bodies. Maybe other aspects, but not with their bodies. We aren't really looking for that as a priority. We don't want to see the gym pictures. We don't want to see the shirtless pictures. We don't. That does not say that I am a caring individual. That does not say that I am going to listen. That does not say I am going to be present. And I don't know how you need to capture that in your profile, but that isn't it, because that's a turnoff. Take those out of your profile. One dude was shirtless in several pictures. This individual, based on the picture, obviously did not spend any time in the gym, which is fine. But then in the comments under the picture was, I really want somebody that I can go take a hike with, and then we can take a shower together. And that was mentioned more than once on his profile. Again, who are you trying to connect with? I mean, I don't personally know any women who are thinking, wow, I'm looking for a guy that I can just hop in the shower with. What are you thinking, guys? Come on. It is really hard to get over some of these things that are kind of a red flag. There were a couple of them who we decided to have a phone conversation with, which is actually a really great idea, because if you are so different in your beliefs and ideologies, you don't need to get out of your house. You can just chat and see how the conversation goes. But a phone call is still kind of difficult, because it was like we were trying to check off our boxes, and it didn't feel as natural as maybe meeting up in person and having a cup of coffee. One of the guys that I talked to didn't sound impaired in the beginning of the conversation, but as the conversation progressed, was impaired with something, which, whatever, that's fine. But the conversation took a sharp detour and went to, so would you just come over right now? No. And then started making comments like he was seeing things around me, which was really pretty kind of freaky. And I hung up and then blocked him everywhere. I don't know. Maybe I am too old to use this app as it is intended, because it is such an emotional investment that it was weighing on my energy a lot more than I had realized. And again, I'm trying to then fit this into my other creative processes, and it became too much. It felt like another job because, if you really want to see the full profiles, you have to pay and you have to sign up for a period of time, and they're not cheap. But if you're going to do it, that's the only way. If you want to actually see all of the profile and the picture, you have to pay. So then you feel this obligation that you've paid for something, and so you really need to make an effort. And it was hard. And what's interesting is I know of other people. I have another friend who is in her 30s. That's how she's meeting all of her men. I don't know, maybe just the younger generations are better at communicating through an app and through a phone and navigating this world. And maybe me being of an older generation, I obviously am looking for different qualities and have different expectations. And sometimes I would look at the men who liked my picture, and I'm thinking, do you think that we have anything in common? I don't know what some of these men were thinking, because women get this natural pushback of, oh, you're too picky. And it's like, no, I'm not too picky, but you clearly have a completely different lifestyle than I do. And why would you think that that would match up? You are a sports fanatic. I hardly watch any sports on TV. And you're wanting someone to go to games? That's not just a logical matchup to me. I don't think it is too picky, but I think it is trying to find someone who is similar in nature than I am, who is similar in behaviors and beliefs. And one of the men that I had spoken with on the phone, and when you look at their profiles, and a lot of men are stating their educational level, which education is important to some degree, but it's not a deal breaker, are also including that they own their own home, and they're debt-free, and that seems odd to me. But one of the men that I had talked to had really focused on professional life and their master's degree and all of this stuff. And when we actually talked on the phone, had retired from that job and decided that they were no longer fulfilled with the professional white-collar job, and now they're driving a truck. Okay, well, say that in the profile. Here you have represented yourself in one way, and then, well, you're really not that way, and you're just a truck driver. And I'm not judging that you're a truck driver, but be transparent about it. Don't focus on something which you're not actually at that place in life. And to be fair, it is really difficult to know what to put there because you have this small little bio, and at this point in our life, what does really matter and what is most important, and everybody certainly is different. And maybe what we should be putting there is this description of what type of person do we want to attract. Like, I have some things in my life that I do that are important and non-negotiables. And so if I have somebody that conflicts with that, then that's a problem. And that means that the relationship is going to be harder than it should be. Needless to say, I have deleted the apps. I am back to focusing on my own creativity, focusing on myself, trusting that there is a plan. I am trying to walk every day with, okay, this is obviously where I'm supposed to be right now. How can I embrace it? And how can I simply just allow? Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.